Well, hello, Ed. Welcome to this weather outlook video. But before we get started with the weather outlook, and we're just to say it, as you know, we're going to be in the deep freeze for quite a while. This is the map, another map released from Upton of the snowfall totals across Long Island, and you can see a lot of areas getting close to a foot, 10 inches, around 10 inches to a foot of snow. Generally speaking, across Long Island, and more as you head up over Connecticut and the Hudson Valley. And we're going to go through these amounts again, so people know how much snow we got. Let's go to the home page here, and we'll go to the latest snowfall reports. Go down the list of amounts here, and you see again those 15-inch amounts in Connecticut. New Haven County, even 17 inches in some of those areas. So Connecticut really getting hit hard. New London, 16 inches. And also Bergen County in New Jersey, places like Englewood Cliffs, 16 inches. Teaneck, 15.5 inches. And those areas getting hit pretty hard too as well as Passaic County. Now getting to Long Island here. Nassau County, East Massapequa reporting a foot of snow, 12.2 inches. 12.1 inches in North Merrick, 12.1 in Glen Cove, Oceanside 11 inches, Herrick's 10.8 inches. So a lot of areas getting close to a foot. East Williston 10.4 inches, Farmingdale 10 inches. Yeah, this was quite a bit of snow for sure. And again, Brooklyn, you still have some foot amounts there, in Williamsburg. In the Bronx, Fordham, 13.5. Central Park at 11.4 inches. Getting to Queens to 11.1 inches in Whitestone. LaGuardia got 10.1 inches. JFK got 10.3 inches. So not much of a difference between those two airports there. Staten Island getting hit pretty decently. Annandale, 14 inches. And then Rockland County, also another hard-hit area. New City, 17.6 inches there with the high amount. Now, going over Suffolk County, Fort Salonga, 14.5 inches. Brightwater, 14 inches. Islip Airport, 13 inches. So over a foot of snow at Islip. Definitely overperformed, I think, the storm by a little bit because we didn't see that. Especially Suffolk. Didn't really see much mixing over Suffolk. It was more of a fluffy snow over there. East Islip, 12 inches as well. So a foot of snow on a lot of these observations here. A lot of observations of a foot of snow. It gets a little less as you head further east and south to the South Shore. Ridge got 11 inches, but still, I mean, that's a lot of snow right there. Deer Park, 10.2 inches. The lesser amounts like Sayville, 8 inches. So some parts of Suffolk on the South Shore got a little less. But generally speaking, a lot of snow. Again, Westchester seeing 17 inches at Somers, and just a lot of snow with this storm. Biggest snow we've seen in a long, long time across our area. And there's been some on and off snow shower activity across the area as well. It's kind of moving out now, but there was some over Suffolk County as well. So let's go to our Islip climatological report. A high of only 25 today at 3:59 p.m. And it's going to be today's actually going to be the warmest day of the week, believe it or not. A low of 18 at 8:02, running 9 degrees below normal for the day. The high 14 degrees below normal. And now precipitation month to date, we are at 2.58 of liquid. And the normal value would be 3.12. So we're getting close to what we should have normally. But the snowfall definitely well above. We got like a month's worth of snow there. Snowfall month to date, 14.9 inches at Islip, well above the normal value of 8.2. So above normal snowfall for sure over there at Islip. And let's go and look at the map and take a look at Mount Holly's, the observations out of Mount Holly here. We're going to just take a look at some of these observations because Ocean County is the Mount Holly office. And it seems like we're missing a lot of observations now from Ocean County. So they seem to have been removed. I don't know why, but we have 9.5 at Long Branch. But we went over these. It's probably around 9 inches, probably around much of Ocean County, 8-9 inches of snow. So they got a little bit less than we did, but more than I was expecting because that rain really never really made it in as far as we thought during the storm. So that's all we have on that map. Looking at the satellite imagery, again, we had a lot of clouds starting to break up now. We had a lot of clouds during the day. You could see all the clouds that we had over us during the day, kind of thinning out now. Let's go over the country here, and we'll take a look, and you'll see. For the most part, fairly clear skies. Look at that. That kind of shows you. We'll back that up there. Take a look at all of the country now. Look at all the snow. We have the snow cover going all the way from New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, northern parts of Louisiana, and you also have ice as well. Mississippi, a lot of ice there as well. Kansas, Missouri. Look at all these states that are covered with snow. I would say a good half the country almost is now covered in snow. And we're already seeing things freeze up as well. We have too many clouds to do a MODIS satellite today, but I'm hoping maybe we're going to get a chance to look and see. That I've heard that the Hudson River is starting to freeze up, and I'm sure the Great South Bay is probably freezing up as well. Yeah, quite remarkable, I will say. You can see the cold air going all the way down to the Gulf there, and look at all that convection going on over the Gulf, and that cold air moves over that very warm Gulf water. Power outages still have a lot of states affected. Tennessee, Mississippi, and Louisiana affected as well. One of the worst ice storms in years there. At least, fortunately, we didn't have to deal with the ice. I'll take a foot of snow over ice any day. Ice is the worst thing to have, for sure. So let's go to the weather and hazards map, and you'll see we've got cold weather, extreme cold warnings for a lot of areas, including all the way down to the south. And then around that, we've got these cold weather advisories, and still some winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings for Maine, as whatever the rest of that storm is. And it looks like we still got winter storm warnings for lake effect. We're still dealing with lake effect. I mean, that lake, eventually these lakes have to freeze with all the cold. What did it say? Did it say? Lake effect snow warning now is in effect. So still seeing lake effect upstate. And again, we got this extreme cold warning. We're going to look at some of these observations here, and you can see how cold it is here. Below zero in some of these areas that we've got. And look at how far the cold weather goes down to. It goes all the way down to the Gulf. I mean, even in New Orleans, 34 degrees, very cold. And that cold air is going over that very warm Gulf water. Gulf water temperatures are probably still in the 70s. So it's probably looking quite unusual over in that area. For sure, with that really cold air coming in. You can see some of these wind gusts too. And the Gulf is where we're going to have to watch for the next storm that will develop. The question is, what happens with that storm? Of course, we're looking to all that. Let's look at our current observations across Long Island right now, and ice slip is now down to 19 degrees. Of course, the alley is 25, but ice slip is now down to 19 degrees, and we actually had some light snow for a little bit this evening there. There were some snow showers, and even this afternoon too there was some snow showers. Probably didn't really amount to much more than a trace, but it was enough to coat the roadways and lead to treacherous travel again. So and we got these winds gusting as well. We got a pressure gradient going on. So that's what we have going on. And if we look at Ocean County, probably. Let's go ahead and look at Ocean County, 18 degrees there as well. So they got up to 27 today. We'll put the highs on the map here to show you what the highs were. And you'll see highs, upper 20s. This is warm as it's going to get for a while. For this week, we're going to be struggling to see 20. Lows, well, these lows are going to be more typical of our highs. Lows were in the teens today. So, just really unusual stuff that we are seeing. The extent of this cold is very, very remarkable. Let's look at the radar. You'll see the storm still slowly pulling out of Boston. Boston really got hammered. Should actually go to that snowfall map, and unfortunately I closed it, but we'll have to see. I'll show you what Boston got. Other than that, fairly quiet across the country. It's fairly dry, but we do have another storm coming into the Pacific. That will have to be watched as well. So looking at our weather map, you'll see here that quiet, though we do have troughs around. And there's another reinforcing shot of Arctic air that's going to be coming in for later this week. So yeah, there's no break in the Arctic air. It continues without any real break. We're going to be so. Here's a map of the snow reports. Like Boston got even more. Yeah, look at that. How about 20 inches at Logan? 20 inches. So yeah, they really got hammered by this blizzard because they got affected by the coastal low more, and it was more of a blizzard for them, I think. I mean, well, not so much for us, but you can see some of these areas really getting pounded with just incredible amounts of snow, and that snow cover is going to help lock in the cold weather. So let's go and look at the models now, and we'll start with the North American view. And let's go ahead and look at the jet stream here. We'll start with the European. We're at the 18Z European. Let's go to the 12Z European. Look at the jet stream. So you can see these dives in the jet stream is another one. I mean, the polar vortex is pretty much coming down across the country, and another one for Friday. And then this is where we have to watch for this coastal storm development that would develop in the Gulf. And some of the models, some of the runs were bringing it up right up the coast and giving us a blizzard. But either way, if it doesn't hit us, we're still going to get more bitter cold weather behind it. And there's no real break in this pattern. We don't see this breakdown at all. That trough continues to stay there. And the GFS would probably show the same thing at this point. Here's the GFS. Yeah, the good news is models seem to be keeping that storm offshore. So for now, but there could be other opportunities. There's no change in this. I mean, it continues to stay. And this is all due to the polar vortex. So let's go over here and let's show you the polar vortex here, which is breaking down. So here's the polar vortex. We'll just run this here like this, so you can see what's going on. And this is the polar vortex, and it actually splits even more. Look at that. So this polar vortex is weak, and the colder air is coming on down, and really very, very impressive for sure. Very impressive. And this is the temperature anomaly. And you can see actually some areas are much warmer than normal because of the blocking. So the cold air, instead of being in the Arctic, is being displaced all the way down. So let's go to the North American view. And we'll show you what we got here. So here's a North American view on the GFS. And you can see the cold air just keeps coming. Just keeps coming. And look at those bright pinks for Friday. I mean, there's just no end in sight to this. And just when you think it's done, boom, here comes another plunge as we get into February. So we are in the real deep freeze here. Let me tell you, a real deep freeze that we got going on here. I'm going to put this back over here. This deep freeze continues, and all the models show it. European shows it as well. I mean, there's just no end. We are going to see things. I mean, there's just no. Look at that. Just when you think it's going to go away, boom, here comes another shot of Arctic air. So the snow cover really isn't going to be going anywhere, and it actually helps lock in the cold. That actually, the storm that we had that originally was supposed to be suppressed is actually prolonging the Arctic. That actually originally was supposed to be like 7 to 10 days. Now it's weeks of well below normal temperatures. So let's go to the upper air. So here's what we have for the upper air European, the 12Z European. That troughing just stays with us all week. There's that block in Greenland. It looks like it tries to break it down, but then it just comes right back again. All right. And as far as the weekend storm goes, we'll take a closer look at that as well. But I mean, there's just no change in this pattern. It is not breaking down at all. Here's the GFS. And it's just pretty relentless. Looks like it just as soon as you think it eases, boom, it comes right back again. So, yeah, this is going to be definitely, I think, a winter for the record books with the amount of cold weather we're having. So really something to see that polar vortex displaced so much. for sure. This is pretty much like what we went through in 2017. I think that's pretty much how it's almost similar, but I think that this might be even go longer than that. Yeah, let's look at the 18Z GFS now. We're still looking at the upper air because we have to look at that storm for the weekend. All right, so this is the GFS. You can see that storm taking shape, and it's the upper air. Keeps it pretty much offshore. We go ahead and we look at the European. Euro is a little closer with it. This is the 18Z Euro now. This is not the 12Z. We'll go to the 12Z. Here's the 12Z. It still kind of keeps it suppressed, but let's go to that 06Z run because that had a much deeper storm. Didn't go as far. But let's see. I think it was the 0Z. It was a 0Z run, I think. That took it almost right up the coast there. So 12Z. Here's the 12Z. And well, we have the 18Z. But again, the 18Z seems to have gone back into a more intense storm. So it still has to be watched. Let's go look at the surface now. So here's the surface. And again, we have fair weather this week. Dry, maybe some clouds, but it's going to stay cold with that northwest flow. You can see the isobars. Here comes a big high coming down. This is the 12Z Euro, all right? Now, the 12Z Euro does suppress the storm offshore. There's the high. It kind of suppresses it offshore. The 0Z Euro was a different story entirely. That had us getting nailed by a very strong coastal nor'easter type of storm. All right, that was the 0Z Euro. The 06Z Euro also, it only went out this far, but you could see the dark blue over us. That would be a really powerful blizzard if that were to hit. That would be easily probably 20 inches of snow with the cold air in place. It would be a monster storm if that were to develop. But when we go to the 12Z, it kind of takes it away. But then the 18Z kind of brings it a little closer again. So we're seeing this variation in the track at this point with each run. You're definitely not consistency because the energy that develops this coastal low hasn't even come in yet. So let's look at the GFS 18Z. And there's the storm on the 18Z. Suppresses it. But we all learned from the last time we thought it was going to be suppressed. And look what happened now. The 12Z took it a little closer, and now it's forcing it out. So I'm really hoping we don't, because if we get this storm, it is going to be crippling, to say the least. Crippling. On top, the snow we have isn't going anywhere, and you're going to get 2 feet of snow on top of that. It's going to look like we're going to be driving through canyons of snow, and that snow won't melt until probably March, if it happens. All right, if it happens. So yeah, that is definitely a very impressive looking storm. We're gonna go ahead and take another look at that storm here on the European model. Again, this is as far as that European goes, but you can see it kind of brushes us now a little bit. All right, now that's the 18Z. The 12Z had it going out to sea and really just brushing the east end with a little bit of snow. And then the monster is the 0Z run. Take a look at what that does right there. So that would be really impressive. And no changeover issues. Though it's kind of weird how it forms it and then kind of pulls it back again. Some kind of issue there going on with the model, I think. That's not supposed to happen. Here's the 06Z. Wow, that 06Z run. Look at that. Look at those really dark purples. You're talking 3-inch an hour snowfall rates. If this were to verify, of course. This is just a storm in the models. It's not necessarily going to happen. There's just a chance that it might happen. And then we have the 18Z kind of coming back and trying to hit us again, but more of a glancing blow. So we see a lot of variation in the model runs, and that's something that we really have to, be careful of. And I'm not going to. There's no reason to incite panic at this time when the storm could very well go offshore. Here's the GFS. All right. So and I'll look at the icon as well. Look at that one as well, the 18Z icon. I don't know if it's going to take us far enough out. Here's the icon. Not quite. We'd have to look at the 12Z, but I think the 12Z was suppressing it. No, the 12Z actually had us getting hit. So that's the 12Z icon right there. Now, if that were to hit and we were to see the icon would it's actually not terrible on the icon, because the icon still looks like it has a glancing blow for us. But that's pretty much all I've got on this storm here at this point. But we know that we're going to go back to the coldest view and go to the GFS or the Euro. We can do the Euro at 12Z. So here's the coldest view again. There's that storm. Once that storm's gone, again, it looks like our risk for storms is over, but you can see it's just one bitter cold air mass after another coming down. It's just relentless. Here's the GFS, and the same thing again. There is a chance that maybe if this low tracks over to the north here, it could bring in some warmer air around early February. Perhaps we get one day of warmer weather with that. Perhaps that would be maybe near normal. We might get near normal before the next Arctic plunge comes in. All right, so that's what it's looking like right now. So let's look a little more at the short range here. And for tomorrow, you see that wind there. We have a little trough that comes through that might touch off an isolated flurry, at least according to this model, the HRRR. But you could see, I think there's even a better chance of that happening on Wednesday. Looks like maybe a possible Arctic front coming through there. Let's go ahead and look at, because I know there's going to be a reinforcing shot. So here we go. Dew points and wind flow, obviously. We're seeing northwest winds to start tomorrow. Then they back off a little more to the west-southwest. And that brings maybe you'd think this would bring a little bit of moderation. You see the dew points go up, but it's not. With the snowpack, it's going to just help reflect the sunlight and keep things cold. And then here we go, another reinforcing shot. You see those dew points drop on Wednesday there, the northwest wind. So, yeah, it's looking... we'll look at some soundings for tomorrow. I think we're going to have a lot of clouds around tomorrow. It's showing some clouds, the 17Z here. Yeah, it's definitely probably some mid-level clouds and then more clouds developing toward the afternoon. And then Wednesday, I think we'll probably have even more clouds around C. Wednesday, not terrible to start. That's 15 to Z. But I think as you get toward the afternoon, those clouds are going to build. And then we see those precipitation chances kind of come up. Well, it's not a terrible-looking diagram there. There should be more sunshine the next couple of days than there was today, but it's not going to do anything for the temperatures, as you'll see. So tonight we are going to drop probably into to around 10 degrees, though this model is showing it could be even colder than that. We do have too much wind for radiational cooling, but single digits are a possibility. Tomorrow, we struggle to make it to 20. We struggle to make it to the low 20s. We may not make it there. It may only be in the teens. And then tomorrow night, we see the temperatures drop again. And, oh, boy, look at what happens Wednesday morning. Oh, my. Yeah, according to this model, we could definitely see temperatures go 0 come Wednesday morning. And then Wednesday, yeah, we are going to be struggling to hit 20. I'll be surprised if we get there. The question is that radiational cooling, or is that, well, let's see if we got wind. There's still some wind, but there could be radiational cooling even with lighter winds, with all this snowpack around, and if we have clear skies. That's entirely possible. We can look at a sounding here and see. Yep, we have clear skies. Oh, yeah, there's a strong inversion right there. So that would definitely be a potential for radiational cooling Wednesday morning. So if that happens, the Pine Barrens will probably be going below 0 for sure, with those dew points being so low. Yeah, so we're in the cold for sure. And we'll take you a little further along here on the European model. We'll use the 12Z run for this. And you will see here that Thursday it gets even. We continue in that northwest flow. It continues. Friday even colder. I mean, dew points below 0. So it's very dry air. That wind continues to stay from the north, and then that storm goes by, and behind that storm there will be more cold air. Though it doesn't look quite as severe. It looks like the Euro might ease it a little bit, but then look what happens in the middle of next week. Here we go. Here's more for later in February. So literally, the Arctic air. It might ease for a little bit, and you might get up to 30 freezing mark, and then it'll go right down below again. So again, looking at these temperatures here, we are Thursday. I mean, lows around 0 in the morning, struggling to the upper teens, and then at night, again, seeing those temperatures drop. And if there's radiational cooling, 0 is a good possibility. And if you're in the Pine Barrens, probably below that. Friday, teens again. I mean, every day. Here's Saturday. Every day is going to be cold. Saturday, only maybe teens. You may have a stretch of like 3 or 4 days only in the teens. I can't remember the last time that happened. Sunday, here we are warming up to upper 20s. And then Monday, we actually might get closer to freezing. So, but then get a little bit of a break, and then boom, here comes some colder air again, entering right back into the picture again. Here we are on Monday, February 9th. So, and struggling to get to the teens again. So, GFS won't show much of a break either. Here's the GFS temperatures. I mean, these temperatures are just incredibly cold. I mean, all the bays are going to freeze over. This is the coldest weather we've seen in years. I think this might even be colder than what we dealt with in 2017. This is really something. Lows going below 0 perhaps, and then Saturday, the temperatures, I mean, if that storm does affect us, all the precipitation would be snow. Behind that storm, it seems like once the storm passes, it pulls a little bit of Arctic air away. And then we see a little bit of a moderation Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. A little bit. We might get above freezing for the first week of February. But then, boom, here we go. More Arctic air coming down again. So that's just on freaking believable. It really is. It just continues. There's no end in sight to this. So let's go ahead and look at skies. And we'll go ahead and look at the skies. So here we go for tomorrow. It's showing the GFS being optimistic and showing mostly sunny skies, and the clouds come in later. Wednesday, starting off with sun, and then the clouds kind of come in later. Here's Thursday, and some mix of sun and clouds. Friday, looks like sunshine each day. The good news is there will be sunshine each day. Saturday, we'll have to see about the increase in clouds from that storm, and then Sunday, Monday, we'll probably be dealing with clouds from that storm. So, yeah, it's just incredible, the cold that we're seeing here. We can look at the higher resolution GF. Well, let's just go to the RGM for skies. All right, so here we are in the RGM for skies. Tomorrow, starting off mostly sunny, and then there's clouds increasing toward. I think we'll start off sunny, but then there'll be more clouds developing toward the middle of the day into the afternoon. And then toward night, they tend to clear out. And then Wednesday should actually have more sunshine, but still think there could be a few more clouds developing in the afternoon. And then as far as we got on the RGM, this is pretty incredible. What can I say? So let's go to the Climate Prediction Center now, and we'll go to the 6 to 10 day. And yeah, there's no end to this. You can see below normal in the east, well above normal in the west, and below average precipitation generally east to normal. I don't see an above normal, so maybe they're thinking that storm is going to stay offshore. I hope it does. I know some people want it. It would be interesting to have a blizzard, but it would cripple things. It would cripple things, and it would be really crippling. 8 to 14 day, below normal precipitation for a lot of the country, including our area east, and below normal temperatures. So, yeah, this is what we have got going on right now. So really, quite impressive. It's, cold to say the least, for sure. Very, very impressive. Let's go to some other models now. We're going to look at windy.com, which would give us some. I'm not sure which Euro run it's going to use for that storm, but we're going to go ahead and look for it anyway. And the winds are also going to be an issue, so I don't think we'll need wind advisories, but you add these winds to the wind. I mean, gusts to 36 tomorrow. They back off a little bit, but then they pick up again in the evening. And then Wednesday, it looks like Wednesday, a little bit less wind. Thursday, maybe a little bit less. How about Friday? Friday, a little bit less, and then obviously, as far as I can get, this only go up to Saturday and show the storm there, at least the first part of it there, and you can see the kind of winds this thing would generate. Could be, again, a real nor'easter, but it's way too early to really say what's going to happen with it. I'm hoping it stays offshore. I mean, that seems to be the consensus right now, is that it will stay offshore. We may get brushed, but that is the consensus. But just to show you, the snow isn't going anywhere. We're going to go to the snow depth map here. And this is a little underdone, I think. This is underdone, the snow depth. It seems like it's less snow depth in New Jersey, but it's not going anywhere with these cold. It might compact a little bit, but it's not really going to go anywhere. And that's going to make things stay cold for quite a while, for sure. I don't know why this is like way underdone, I think, in my opinion here. I can use Ventu Sky. I think that also has it, I think. Snow cover, we can use that. This one's a little more. Yeah, this one's a little better at it. So you could see, again, the snow cover on Long Island. There is less in Ocean County. I guess that's where I'll have to hike, because this is going to be pretty hard to hike in nearly a foot of snow. I'm not going to go anywhere. You can see Tuesday, Wednesday. It doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere. Thursday, there's no change because it stays cold. And it doesn't go anywhere. So there's no change at all. So it's not really going to be going anywhere anytime soon because of these very, very cold temperatures. So the last thing I'll show you, Modus. Let's see if we got some. It was too many clouds. I don't think we're going to see if the bays froze over or not. It's really kind of hard to tell with all the cloud cover if those bays froze over or not. Yes, no, it's too much cloud cover to really tell. I think they probably did already. So if they haven't, they're going to freeze soon, for sure. So that's what it is. Just showing you some pictures from today. We did have clouds, but they did sort of break up toward the late afternoon. And then this evening, you can see the clouds that we did have in the sky there. Snow-covered lake. And another nice picture of the sky there in North Wantaw there. So, yeah, you can see a mix of clouds, and it wasn't completely clear, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. Maybe get some clear skies in, but hiking is going to be an issue for sure on Long Island for quite a while. So, yeah, looks like I'll have to shut up and go hike in New Jersey where they got a little bit less. But the snow is pretty, but when it's a foot, you really can't be walking around in that unless you have skis or something. I don't know, but well, anyway, stay warm, as we are going to be in the deep freeze for quite a while. The good news on all this, yes, it's rough on us, but it is good for the ecosystem. It's going to cleanse the pines of all those horrible beetles, and the snow cover will help hydrate the soil and hopefully give us a nice full Kelleher lakes come the spring. So there is a silver lining in all this. It is important. It was very much needed. A cold blast like this that would last for quite a while, and it looks like that is exactly what's happening. A real deep freeze, perhaps one for the record books, but we needed it after not having a proper winter for about 5 years. We're long overdue. So thank you for watching. Good night.